What's going on, guys? So this is going to be my day 2 recap and day 3 prediction video for the ELeague major. Um, so day 2 just ended, and now we're going to recap the results. On the day, I went 4 for 4 with 4 wins and 4 losses. So not too good, but also not terrible. I took some risks with some of my predictions. So first map of the day was Navi versus Envious, and I predicted Navi to win, and they won pretty easily. They looked really good on cobblestone. Envious looked really weak, and they kind of looked lost at points. Second map of the day was Mouse Sports versus Hellraisers, and I predicted Mouse Sports to win, and they did. 16-7 on cash. Chris J and Nico went off on this game and just dominated Hellraisers. Hellraisers currently look really weak, and I don't know if Mouse Sports is ever going to duplicate their performance that they had today. But it was a good showing for them and a good bounce back, which I kind of thought that they would, based on how badly they played yesterday. Next map of the day was FaZe versus SK. SK came back, had a huge comeback. They were down 15-9 at one point and ended up winning this thing 19-17. FaZe looked in control most of the game on Mirage, but they choked really hard, and SK ended up coming back. I actually predicted SK to win this game, and they ended up doing it. Next map of the day was Flipside versus Liquid. Liquid won a really close match. I did say in my last video that I thought this game was going to be really close, and it was about as close as you could get, 16-14, and it came down to a last second defuse where Markolov did not have a kit, and Liquid ended up stealing away the game. I did predict Flipside, so I got that one wrong. Next game of the day was Godsent versus Gambit, and in this match, Godsent did not look very good. Gambit looked like a really good team, actually. They built on what they did yesterday to North, and had a really good performance on Overpass. It might have had something to do with Godsent underperforming, but at the same time, Gambit did look very structured, and they're definitely a force to be reckoned with at this point in this tournament. And maybe Godsent's win against Astralis was a one-off, and they can't duplicate it, but we'll see as the major continues. I did predict Godsent, and they lost it for me. Then there was North versus Fnatic. Fnatic just edged out North 16-13 on cobblestone. It took a lot of rallying. North led most of the game, and then they ended up coming up short at the very end in the second half of the game. Fnatic looked really strong on T side, and their puggy style just kind of outplayed North. Kind of a surprising game. I did say yesterday this game has upset potential, and that ended up happening because Fnatic edged out a win. Then the game of the day was Optic versus Astralis. I did predict Optic to win. The game ended up being played on Train, and Astralis bounced back in a big way from their embarrassment against Godsent yesterday. And Astralis seemed to be back on track to be one of the best teams at this tournament now. And unfortunately for Optic, they're now 0-2, which kind of sucks for them. But I think they'll still be able to get out of this group. And then the game that just wrapped up was Virtus Pro versus G2 on Nuke, and VP somehow won this game. They were down the entire time, and then at the very end, they just barely beat G2. They won some fluky rounds that got them to stay in the game, especially in the first half. And then when it mattered most in the second half, Byali showed up. And Taz and Snacks were keeping them in this game most of the time until the rest of their team woke up at the very end. So, yeah, VP again edges out a team. Yesterday was 16-13, and today it's 16-14. So they somehow are 2-0. That was the recap for day 2. Now on to predictions for day 3. First match of the day for the round 3 high matches, we have SK versus Navi. I think based on current form, Navi should win this game. This is really 50-50, but Navi looked like their boot camp really helped them, and they've just been blowing teams out of the water this tournament. Granted, they were Sports and Envious, and SK is a much better team than that. However, SK did barely beat FaZe today, and I didn't like how they played for most of that game. So if Navi gets off to a good start, there's a good chance that SK could just fall apart, which is why I think Navi is going to win this one, although it could be close. And then next match for the round 3 high matches is Virtus Pro versus Gambit. Although Gambit have looked good this tournament, much better than I thought they would play, I'm going to give this one to Virtus Pro. First off, I have a hard time believing that Gambit is going to make it out of the group stage 3-0. And I feel like Virtus Pro, although they have similar map pools, have the better players and the more experienced players at majors to win this game. However, this game seems deceptive. I feel like this is the kind of game that Virtus Pro would lose, but I'm still going to give it to them. But Gambit definitely has upset potential here. So round 3 mid matches, these are the teams that are 1-1 currently. First game is going to be G2 versus Astralis. Although G2 almost ran the wire against VP, and did overall perform pretty well, I'm going to give this to Astralis. I think Astralis performed pretty well today against Optic. Despite not playing that well in the first half, they kind of came to life. And Astralis has a very strong map pool, and if they continue their form, they are currently the best team in the world. They should be able to take care of G2. I don't really see Astralis losing this game, all things considered. Next map of the day is going to be Godsent versus Envious. Even though Godsent didn't look that great against Gambit today, I think Godsent is going to win. Simply because Envious looked a lot worse, and I think the fact that Godsent's a little bit of an unknown quantity might give them an advantage against Envious. And if they get off to a good start, I don't know if Envious has the morale or the will to come back on them. So I think Godsent will probably win that game. This one's very 50-50 though. I would say if you, like yesterday, if you feel strongly about either team, maybe you have a chance to make some money, betting wise. Next map of the day is Fnatic versus Mouse Sports. For me, I think that this one goes to Fnatic. I was impressed with how they played against North, who's a pretty good team. And even though Mouse Sports did play really well today against Hellraisers, let's keep in mind that Hellraisers is not a very good team. They have not been able to crack double-digit wins in the round column yet against any opponent they've played. So yeah, I think I like Fnatic's experience. I think Dennis played really well, and if Olafmeister can find his form, definitely Fnatic can win this game. Although once again, if Chris J and Nico find their form more than the Fnatic core, Mouse Sports could upset and actually win this match. But I'm going to give this one to Fnatic. And the last game of the day for round 3 mid matches is going to be Liquid versus FaZe. For the most part, I was impressed with how FaZe played today. I think they definitely should have beat SK. And I was not particularly impressed with how Liquid played. They barely beat a team like Flipside, who is not a particularly good team. So yeah, I'm going to give this one to FaZe. FaZe definitely has a stronger map pool, they have the better players, and Kerrigan is a much more accomplished in-game leader than whoever is leading Liquid, which is probably Hiko. So yeah, FaZe should win this game pretty handily. Next match here is for the round 3 low matches. It'll be Flipside versus Optic. It's a very easy game for Optic. Unfortunately, they've had to play against arguably the best 2 teams at this tournament, which is why they're sitting at 0-2. They don't really deserve that. If they played against almost anyone else, I guarantee you Optic would be sitting at 2-0 or at least 1-1. Flipside did not play particularly well, and I think that their loss against Liquid kind of signaled their end to this tournament run, unfortunately for them. And then the last game of the day is going to be North versus Hellraisers. Although North has been very disappointing, I do think that they are going to win this game. It would be an absolute embarrassment if they go out 0-3 in this tournament after the results they've had this year. And Hellraisers has looked extremely weak. So I'm going to give MSL the benefit of the doubt that this is the game that'll turn them around. I do think North could still make it out of groups, but the more and more I think about it, the less likely I think it is, which kind of sucks. But I do think that they will not go 0-3, and they will go 1-3 at least, and take out Hellraisers tomorrow. So these are my my recap of day 2 and my predictions for day 3. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and comment down below your thoughts. Thanks for watching.